There they are, ladies and gentlemen, the stare down and a few words exchanged.
I haven't seen.
You gonna see Saturday,
bro.
Saturday
even
night.
the little clips on the what is called that we just had, the gloves off. What the was you doing?
Hey, you know what?
Gervonta Davis's corner. So you have Coach Calvin, and Coach Calvin is the head trainer, and you have Coach Kenny, who really specializes on preparing game plans specifically for opponents.
Gervonta Davis shocked the boxing world by slapping Lamont Roach during a heated face-off. The confrontation escalated instantly, with Davis boldly declaring that he plans to break Roach in their upcoming rematch. Neither fighter backed down, and the energy was explosive. This intense exchange has only added fuel to their rivalry and set the stage for what may become one of the most emotional and aggressive showdowns of the year. Inside the gym, Gervonta Davis has entered a new phase of mental and physical dedication, once again under the guidance of his longtime coach, Calvin Ford. But this time, things are different. Unlike the first fight, which had more outside influence from the Washington, D.C. circle, this camp is smaller, more secure, and laser-focused. With no distractions and tighter control of information, Davis's strategy is locked in. Rumors that Roach had insider knowledge of Davis's approach last time are no longer a concern. This camp is all about redemption, precision, and total focus, signaling that this rematch is far more than just another fight.
He's 100% correct. Personally, I had Gervonta Davis up a round, because whenever you have rounds where nobody's doing anything, I'm not just going to do what most people do, and especially people that don't like Gervonta Davis, which is just give the round to the other guy, because Gervonta Davis didn't manage to knock him out that round. Okay, so this is Gary Russell Jr. clearly saying, man, no, I don't think Lamont Roach won that fight. You also had Al Bernstein, and Al Bernstein, I'm telling you, is a very, very straight, fair guy who I don't know if he was on that call, but he used to work with Showtime. I don't know if he was on there. I don't recall if I heard him. I think it was Rolly Ronaldo that was calling it. But Al Bernstein, who was a very, very objective person, said, hey, look, no. Sorry to break it to you, but Gervonta Davis won that fight. Yeah, Lamont Roach put up a really good fight, but Lamont Roach was not dynamic. He did not do anything to really separate himself from Gervonta Davis. He just kept it equal. He just tried to keep it even the entire fight. And that's not enough, again, to take the belt from the champion. Now, I do want to say that the people that thought that Lamont Roach won, I don't have any problem with that. I really don't have a problem with it at all. I personally, again, had a point for Gervonta Davis, but I could see how those swing rounds really could go, depending on who's looking at it, really could go different ways, right?
The rematch between Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach is already a commercial success, having sold over 150,000 pay-per-view buys even before fight night. This level of anticipation reflects the fans' hunger for closure and the ongoing interest in their rivalry. The drama and controversy of their first fight left everyone wanting more, and now the world is watching to see if Davis can bounce back or if Roach will rise once again. These numbers prove it. This isn't just a rematch, it's a headline event. Both fighters have officially crossed over into boxing's biggest spotlight.
Tank out here selling under 150,000 pay-per-views, you kidding me? Oh man, Face of Boxing, yeah, turn that shit off. Yeah, we shutting that shit down. Every single time. Does Shakur really want to fight Tank? I think Shakur could sell a bit more with somebody else, especially in Saudi. I feel like they can find him a dancing partner that'll do a little bit better than 150,000. Okay, I get it. This is why PBC delayed this fight for 5 months? Y'all ain't want to pay this motherfucker because y'all know he can't sell. I mean, this should have been evident. If you do the math, Tank has never been that great of a pay-per-view draw. He sold over 300K twice now in his career. He sold over 300K with Ryan Garcia. That's obvious. Ryan's the bigger star. And then he sold over 300 with Martin. He sold about 325. But when we put it in perspective, that Frank Martin fight was a comeback fight after a year layoff, so it was always going to sell. Every comeback fight is going to sell. It was one of the first pay-per-views on Amazon's new PBC deal, so they were really trying to push it. And then he had David Benavidez as the co-main event with Gary Russell and Alberto Puello under them. So you take away all those factors, that this wasn't a comeback fight. David Benavidez isn't the co-main event, and Amazon has now been in the game for over a year. It makes sense it only sold 150. I know there's going to be a couple of you guys in the comments. No, it sold 500K. Don't be so gullible. They didn't sell 500K. I don't know if Tank's a top... Well, I know for a fact he's not a top 5 draw in the sport of boxing anymore. Well. He's not selling pay-per-views. Bivol better be up just triple him. Well, Jerry, their pay-per-views are cheaper. Don't matter. All that matters is who has more eyes watching them, and Bivol and Better BF do. Tank does not.
Instead of scrapping everything, Davis's team opted for intelligent refinement over radical change. After closely reviewing the footage from their first encounter, they found issues with timing and mid-round confidence. Now, they've adjusted key details, like attack angles and distance control, to tighten his game. The result? A more aggressive, calculated version of Davis. He's not being reinvented, he's being perfected. This version keeps the core of what made him dangerous, but sharpens it for maximum impact.
He got a good chin. Oh, he got a good chin. If you got a good chin, okay, let's go ahead. Let's touch this. The chin ain't the only thing that can get you out of there. There's other things you can do and then go back to the chin. I won't go into details, but I look at shit different from a lot of people, man. You know what I'm saying? You got a fighter that listens. He's gonna be a hell of a fighter if he listens to what I tell him. You know, all fighters don't listen because some missions you put them on, you gotta walk through hell to get it done, and every fighter is not willing to walk through hell. You know what I mean? But the chin is not the only thing to get a fight out of it, and the body's not the only thing to get a fight out of there. It's other shit too. You know. Yeah. You gotta hurt. I believe in hurting them. You can hurt. You gotta hurt them to get it started. You know.
PD, thank you for the $2. People were surprised by Roach and Tank. What do you think the biggest surprise was in the fight?
It wasn't a surprise because we know Roach. It wasn't a surprise. Roach can fight. A lot of people think because a person is not popular, they don't exist. There's fighters out there that can rumble. They just got to get the opportunity, you know?
What many assumed was a knockdown in their first fight may have actually been caused by an external issue. Reports have surfaced that Davis's vision was affected by irritation from a grooming product used before the bout. If true, this changes everything. What looked like fatigue or a defensive flaw might have simply been a temporary, avoidable distraction. Supporters believe this further proves Davis's toughness, and his team is taking no chances this time, ensuring that even the smallest details are addressed to avoid any similar mishaps on fight night.
Everybody really think Tank go take the L. I've been seeing it. They said it's over. They think that this time Lamont go in more confident, knowing that basically he can, really take it to Tank. Yeah, I want him to go in there confident. He's very skilled. Go in there confident because you gonna go up against a different Tank. Like I told y'all in previous videos, he gonna go in there confident, thinking he could walk Tank down. Don't forget, with Tank, if he hit you on that button, them lights going off. I don't care who you is. Remember how it ended up with Frank Martin? So yeah, don't go in there thinking that you going against like somebody that, like Ryan Garcia, somebody that's gonna fold. You going against Gervonta Tank Davis. And I think that confidence is what's gonna get Lamont dropped. Because one thing I will say, with Tank, that wasn't your best fight against Lamont, bro. I feel like you was in your head too much, you was overconfident, and you was really just, your mind was in y'all story, the lore and everything with y'all history. You ain't going there like I'm fighting a stranger. You going there like, oh, this Lamont, this from the same camp, we from the same area. But now I think that whole situation woke him up, because you got to think, Tank not used to losing. He not used to people being against him. He not used to being the one that...
Former world champion Mikey Garcia weighed in with a critical take on Davis's chances. While he praised Davis's raw talent and adaptability, Garcia warned that mental focus will be the true deciding factor. With outside distractions, media pressure, and personal issues looming, Davis must block it all out. Garcia emphasized that even the most gifted fighters can fall if their mind isn't in the right place. For Davis, this fight is more than physical. It's a full test of psychological endurance.
I'll let you go because I know I got a lot of shit to do. Lamont Roach versus Gervonta, the rematch. Looks like it's going to happen, hopefully. I'd like to see it.
I think Tank wins in the rematch.
Why?
I think he'll make the right adjustments, and he won't take too long to fight. He kind of gave a lot of the round away sometimes. I think he'll be more active and he'll win. But big props to Roach for his last fight and performance. Fuck, surprised everybody.
Right.
I think he was robbed from the victory. Again, that knockdown should have been a knockdown.
Right.
But whatever, he gets a rematch, you know. And maybe they get a third fight, you know, after that. Who knows? Maybe
it turns out Marcus Pacquiao.
Maybe it turns out to be another great fucking matchup, and they say, you know what, let's run it back.
Right.
And maybe that controversy from the first fight actually helps Roach fucking get 3 fights out of it instead of just the one, or you know, you never know. So hey, things happen for a reason, and I think he did really well in his first one.
Following the first fight, social media buzzed with speculation about whether Gervonta Davis might be walking away from boxing. Instead of feeding the rumors, Davis went straight back into camp, letting his actions do the talking. Scheduling an immediate rematch was a bold move, showing the world he's not avoiding the challenge, but running toward it. That mindset has changed the entire storyline. Davis isn't fading, he's fighting back and taking control of his narrative.
I want to know, when is the rematch going to happen at this point? Because I'm not going to lie, for it to be a whole month later and y'all still arguing over who actually won, it's just really like, okay, yeah, run it back, because we got to go ahead and settle this, squabble this up. I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to say neither fighter in here is shitty, okay? Because after the fight I seen on March 1st, yeah, they both was tagging shit, both getting up with each other, okay? I feel like this is the perfect match. If anybody's gonna do a rematch, you need to be them, period. And Gervonta was stinging him. I'm not gonna lie, he was stinging him. Great fight for him. But I'm not gonna lie, he came out knowing what he was trying to do. Y'all have to give it to him. Like, y'all just be hating, okay? Y'all can't get in the ring and fucking fight. Y'all just be hating. At least I'm giving him no day props, okay? Because Gervonta had a great fight. Don't get me wrong. My money was on him. But I think what messed him up was the fact that when he came out, y'all know he usually be 2 steps ahead. He was 3 steps ahead. I feel like he already had Tank figured out. And he definitely was not expecting that. And him, on the other hand, I think he came in really having something to prove. I'm not going to lie, y'all. Like, it was a really good fight. And I feel like this is how I see it. In the beginning of the fight, he was stinking, back to back, you know what I'm saying? And then at the end of the fight, that's when he finally kicked it up. But I seen consistency through him through the whole fight. I'm not gonna lie, like, so I just feel like the rematch should have happened because never know. He might, now that he was 3 steps ahead, become 8 steps ahead, and he might really knock his butt down. But at the end of the day, it's like, we need this rematch because I don't think this is ever gonna be a dispute that is settled and, you know, officially he won, he lost until they fight. Like, we gotta see it.
Boxing legend and analyst Teddy Atlas offered a deeper look at Davis's true strengths. While many fans focus on his power and flashy knockouts, Atlas highlighted the subtler tools, his ring awareness, sense of timing, and calm under pressure. Davis doesn't fight emotionally, he calculates. When the pressure rises, his heart rate stays steady, and he strikes with precision. It's that mental edge, according to Atlas, that makes Davis truly dangerous in high-stakes moments.
He's going to try to get to us, but we're going to frustrate him. He doesn't get frustrated. He takes his time. He's deliberate. You know, a lot of times at the beginning, people thought he was just a seek and destroy missile. They thought he was just a guy that got to you. And they thought that he would get over anxious. He don't get over anxious. He takes his time. He slowly crosses closes those gaps, you know, inch by inch, step by step, and then he gets to you.
Sports commentator Stephen A. Smith joined the conversation with a focus on physicality. While he acknowledged Roach's technique and intelligence, Smith believes Davis's raw strength and physical presence could be too much for Roach to handle. If the fight turns into a close-range battle, Davis's size, power, and control could overwhelm Roach's skill set. Smith's take suggests that sheer force, not just finesse, might decide this rematch.
And lastly, Steve, a last name I, of course, want to throw your way is Gervonta Davis. I know you believe in his skills.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
What do you think of his fight with Roach? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I think Roach is too small. I think Roach is too small. And that's my issue. I'm not questioning the skill set or anything like that. But it was similar to Frank Martin. You know what I mean? This guy comes in there and you got 18 fights. And I remember watching that pre-fight press conference when he was annoying Gervonta Davis so much and he cussed by accident. Excuse me. He cussed by accident. He was like, ooh, you know, making this up. He hurt me in sparring and, you know, and I knew Gervonta was going to come for him. And sure enough, that's what he did. Walked right towards him from round one on. But, you know, I remember what he said and it really, really struck me. Gervonta's a smart dude, bro, and he said you really, really should have waited. You don't have enough experience. You really, really should have waited and took your time before you came to me, and that's what Gervonta Davis told him, and he was right.
In this latest training camp, Davis is fighting with a chip on his shoulder. The loss or slip in the first fight isn't just a blemish, it's become motivation. Every workout, every sparring session is now fueled by the desire to prove the doubters wrong. He's building more than just muscle. He's sharpening focus, improving timing, and strengthening stamina. Davis doesn't just want to win, he wants to dominate and remind the world why he's one of boxing's most dangerous stars.
Like, got to step back from the situation. That's why I think he's being hushed right now, because when he come this time, it ain't no talking. And that's why I think it's scary, because we never see Tank in that mode where he don't say a word. I think this gonna be a different Tank. And what's crazy is Tank used to be like that in the beginning. Like when he was with Floyd, like I'm talking about Tank with the fade, with the waves, bro. He ain't used to be on that showboat and stuff until he got, like, you know, a little bit more in the boxing, you know, thing. Of course, once you with Floyd, you gonna start being flashy and doing backflips off the ring. But in his beginning stages, dude wasn't playing. He was dropping I think that's what he about to go to, bro. And we know that people like, man, did he take Calvin off his team? Nah, like he said, Calvin, his boy. I think he's just rocking with somebody else right now to get him some sharper skills, you know, to just change up his skill and what people know him by. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. I think Tank go take it to Lamont. And that's not me being biased. I think we ain't ever seen Tank like this before.
To take things to the next level, Davis has brought in veteran trainer Kenny Ellis, known for his tactical intelligence and no-nonsense style. Under Ellis, nothing goes unnoticed. Every drill is calculated, and every mistake is corrected immediately. The focus is on the smallest details: foot positioning, timing, defense, and reaction. Ellis brings a surgical mindset to the camp, ensuring Davis is prepared for every...
One of the best trainers in boxing, second guy in the corner. Is responsible for a lot of the real tactical decisions and tactical analysis that goes on in Gervonta Davis's corner. So you have Coach Calvin, and Coach Calvin is the head trainer, and you have Coach Kenny, who really specializes on preparing game plans specifically for opponents. So to have him talk about what's going on with Lamont Roach, I thought was interesting and insightful, because what he said was that, one, he's not falling for the okie doke. When Mill City asked him, hey, what do you think about the fact that, you know, that Lamont Roach was seen at a basketball game chugging a beer? And I would have added to the question that you see Lamont Roach out giving a bunch of interviews, doing the interview circuit, right? Kind of being a little bit out of character leading into the rematch. Do you think, and this is what Mill City asked, do you think that is something you guys are taking in consideration in preparation for the fight? And what Kenny Ellis said was, look, man, we're not falling for the banana in the tailpipe. We know what Lamont Roach brings to the table, and he says that Lamont Roach is we're not believing that he's out there drinking or blowing up a bunch of weight and all of that. You know, he says what most people say, hey, we're going to prepare for the best version of Lamont Roach that is going to, that'll come for us. But the way that he saw the fight coming out was he said he sees it like the fight before, a lot of really crisp shots landing.
Possibility. Come fight night, Davis won't just have a coach in his corner, he'll have a strategist ready to adapt on the fly.